everybody just massively misjudged the San Francisco 49ers, except it appears the faithful. Everyone else cannot seem to get this figured out, and I don't understand it. I can't wait to break it down with you and to get your thoughts in the comments section below. If you're new here, I'm Nate, and if you're looking for daily 49ers content, hit that subscribe button because that's where, it tells YouTube that you're trying to get more of that kind of content. But this poll I did today is exactly what I expected out of Faithful. I did this poll. It says Brock Bowers over George Kittle and AP All-Pro selection. Thoughts? Option 1, he's snubbed. Option 2, click the one that's up there. And 9% of you just decided that you had to click the bottom one just to be rebellious. And I respect it, honestly. It made me laugh a little bit. But everybody understands that it's a snub. And all over Twitter and YouTube, wherever you go, you're hearing people say it's a snub. And I agree, except in a comment on this poll. So the top comment on this poll is, since when does a rookie get selected for All-Pro over a former All-Pro? I think what you mean, I'm guessing, is related to AP selecting, the Associated Press selecting a rookie over an All-Pro when they had similar years. Maybe that's what you meant. I'm not 100% sure, but it is more of a rare thing, but it does happen. The comment below it, no offense, Joseph Bright, I could not disagree with you more on any other topic on planet Earth. Former All-Pro, basically emphasizing former. Kittle did not have a good year. Firstly, he's actually second-team All-Pro, so that's current All-Pro. Excuse me, sir. Secondly, didn't have a good year? I don't know what football you've been watching. I don't know what stats book you go to. I don't know what websites you search. I don't know what social media you find yourself on, but I cannot find a single other person on planet Earth who thinks George Kittle did not have a good year. I'm not even going to go massively deep on that, but just the surface level in terms of another 1,000-yard season, just on the surface of his yak attack and being the only really solid dude this season that everybody could count on week in, week out. When he was healthy, he was stout. He was valuable. We were just calling for more and more and more for him because he was amazing. It's George Kittle, folks. I don't really get that point of the argument, but we're going to move on. And my point, of course, is that, and we have other stuff later in the video, but my point in this one, just to get us started, is Kittle is greater than Bowers. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Brock Bowers because you know what? There are a lot of teams who could have signed Brock Bowers, and I'm sure there are some teams who are looking at it thinking he was probably worth it. I probably should have done it. But Brock Bowers, okay, is not on the same page as George Kittle when it comes to this season's performance. That's just the way that it is. And we can look at it from a million angles. Bay Area Trev posted this on Twitter. I thought this was a nice, I actually had screenshotted the little stat lines. This looks a lot cleaner, so I went with this instead. George Kittle, 15 games played, 78 catches on 94 targets for 1,106 yards, 14.2 yards per catch, and 8 tutties. Brock Bowers, 2 more games played, 112 catches, so significantly more catches on 153 targets, so nearly 60 more targets than George Kittle. 1,194 yards. Okay? So you get 80 more yards or whatever, and you're at 10.7 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. That's just the easy stats, guys. That's the ESPN stats. That's the no advanced PFF grade or crazy metric. This is just the basic stats. So you look at those two and you think, the only stat right there that makes you look like you're better than George Kittle this season is the yardage. You almost hit 1,200 yards, right? You could add some of the, narrative and things that they like to do and what he was playing with and who he was playing with and yada, yada, yada. And that's fine. All right. I'm okay with those things. Those are not bad things in and of themselves, but I just can't get there. Okay. So I kept going deeper and you look at the PFF metrics. Okay. The top number in blue, that is the overall offensive grade for George Kittle at the top, 92.1. The third one on the list is the overall offensive grade for Brock Bowers, okay? But you keep going because it does get deeper and deeper and deeper. You look at the EPA per target, okay? George Kittle was the most efficient pass catcher this season, thanks to SF Data Niners for this, by the way. Most efficient pass catcher this season, averaging 0.72 expected points per target, yet he missed out on first-team All-Pro nod. Tight end Brock Bowers ranked 37th with a 0.18 EPA per target, making Kittle 4 times more efficient. Efficient. That's a word that we used a lot talking about Brandon Aiyuk this last offseason, I should say, when determining whether or not he should get big bucks. And efficiency is underrated in the NFL as a stat line, as a concept. It should be talked about significantly more than it is. By the way, if you look at it, you're of course not going to see Brock Bowers because that's only the top 25, of which he is not even close to the list. Again, not hating on Brock Bowers, not hating on anything he accomplished this season, hating on the decision to choose him over George Kittle. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. And I see a lot of people that are not 49ers fans out there just celebrating Brock Bowers and saying nothing about what this means, what this looks like for George Kittle and how fair or not this is. Within Faithful's social media bubble, it's pretty obvious. Folks are not happy with it, and it's understandable. By the way, before I get to Fred Warner, I do need to do that, but you do need to recognize we are talking about George Kittle amongst wide receivers, not amongst tight ends. That's why you see Brock Bowers so far down the list. That's also why it's so impressive when you see George Kittle above Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's how high up on the list he is. There's a lot of big names back there. Wanted to make sure before I end the video, I can't only be negative. We do have to celebrate what Fred Warner has accomplished again, because he should be where he is as a first-team All-Pro. Congratulations to Fred Warner getting the first-team All-Pro. Fred Warner is one of 3 players named a first-team All-Pro in each of the last 3 seasons. Impressive performance. You add on top of that, Fred Warner, you guys, I hope, how when seasons go on and you think back to the 2021 season, the 28 season, and you forget some of the nuance of the storyline of what made these things so impressive. And when we look back at Deebo's All-Pro year, for example, I jump to the stats, man. I kind of forget about some of the specific details in the games because the stats leap off the page to me. Because you see them in consecutive years later. You compare to those stats, the future stats and all that. Fred Warner, I really hope we don't forget that he played the vast majority of the season with a broken ankle, fractured ankle, whatever you want to call it, okay? He played significantly injured. We're also going to mention the fact that he played way beyond when the 49ers had a reasonable chance of making the playoffs. He continued to play week in and week out. Insisted on playing week in and week out with the injury. And on top of that, he had an All-Pro season, not only dealing with the injury, but dealing with young players getting out of the position and having to figure that out, plus not having his right-hand man, Devondre Campbell, for the entire season minus 2 quarters of football. Plus, he also had Devondre Campbell he had to deal with. Did I say Devondre Campbell a second ago? Or did I say Dre Greenlaw? I should have said Dre Greenlaw. And if I said Devondre Campbell, I'm going to really hurt for that moment that I said the wrong words because I'm getting guys mixed up. I'm trying to think of everyone's names. Anyway, so my point being, So he played without Dre Greenlaw for the entire season, minus 2 quarters. He played with guys like D. Winters who were out of position a lot, and he had to make up for young player mistakes. He played alongside Devondre Campbell, who clearly was not up to snuff from week 1. And every time I thought he's going to start to figure it out, and it seems like he's starting to figure it out, and there's some PFF grades that make you start to think maybe he's figuring it out. He wasn't, and then boom, he just bails on the team and just gives up on everybody. That's what Fred Warner was dealing with when he was also trying to lead this team, trying to get in his speeches before every game and all of that stuff. I mean, he does it all. He massively deserves the respect. He massively deserves this All-Pro selection. So credit where credit is due. Congratulations, Fred Warner. My goodness, what a season. All right. We are still 14 weeks away from actually having 49ers in Santa Clara on the football field, and I'm excited for it. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a great time. In between now and there, make sure you're subscribed because we have so much to break down with draft decisions. We have so much to break down with free agency moves. We, of course, still need a defensive coordinator, and that's going to have a huge impact on what the draft looks like. So much to get to, so make sure you're around, subscribed, a part of the conversation. Appreciate you, and I hope you have a fantastic Friday night.